I know it's a little late in the night for me to be doing this sort of thing. But that said, another convention has bent the knee of the kickback mob. The con in question, Anime Nebraska Con. Earlier today, they had a vote sheet out to ask what 10 guests you wanted to bring, you wanted to show up. Vic was on it initially, and then after a litany of complaints from a slew of cosplayers, they took him off the list. I think it's either Nebraska Con or Anime Nebraska. I don't know which one it's called, Evie, but Robert Rhodes brought it up to me on Facebook. Anyway, I'm going to say this to the con ops of this convention and to the attendees. You people are nothing but fucking sheep. Everything you've known about this case is a fucking lie. Everything you've been told about Vic, it's a lie. Pushed by one little bitch, D-tier bitch of a critic turned activist posing as a journalist who has gone so far in a destructive manner to absolve herself of cover ups from an F tier critic enterprise called Channel Awesome, covering up her involvement with a legit domestic groomer in the late Justin Carmichael, aka Jewario. Oh, and Mr. Bard, you're as much of a sheep to Mars Girl's BS than I expected. I'm a little shocked, and it really puzzles me how someone like you could be a friend to a guy that I've never met, but been a friend for much longer than than you've been, at least on Facebook, and one Mr. Aaron Dismuke. Anyway, my point is this. You people have been following around a woman who is much like your run of the mill political activist. Everything she says and claims to stand for is the opposite of what she does and how she acts. Her little campaign has never been about keeping Vic out of the job. It's never been about keeping him out of conventions. It's never been about sticking up for victims of pedophilia or trying to stop domestic abuse in the workplace. It's been about her trying to absolve herself of the Jewario fiasco. But in doing so, she is aiding and abetting an even bigger company, that being Crunchyroll, and their pedophiles in even worse cover ups. It's Anime Nebraska, Evie. I didn't remember. It's Nebraska. Anime Nebraska. This reminds me too much of that one infamous two-parter of Shimbo. No, I didn't, Raph. True. In doing so, you're aiding her in aiding Crunchyroll in keeping their cover-ups intact. I've held off on this long enough. I wanted to speak about something I only briefly mentioned in one of my more recent videos about a certain someone and his ex-wife going through a divorce and his wife finalizing a divorce a few months ago. Not going to mention names, but it is legit. My guess, his wife finally caught him in one of his little sexcapades, indulging in his little sexcapades. As mentioned, not mentioning who it is. But I think if you look at my backlog and who I've called out on it, you probably put two and two together by now who I'm talking about. And no, it's not Vic. He's not married. At least not anymore. Whatever marriage he did have, it was years ago. Long before, right when his voice acting career was still in its infancy. Well, that too, Evie. But Damon is not the one I'm talking about. Look at my back catalog, buddy. You know who I rip on and asked for his wife to divorce him. Not going to mention my name. And don't type it in either. Anyway, you people are just being led off a cliff or being sent to a slaughterhouse. But then again, I'm more than willing to wait the next 400 plus days. Why? Because when a certain POTUS 47 is elected, he's going to be getting rid of deep state actors. But let me get back on track with the Shimbo episodes I was referring to. Now, there is an Shimbo YouTube channel on here. For those who don't know, it's a culinary anime from the late 80s, early 90s about two journalists who are trying to put together the ultimate food menu. There are food battles, not on food wars level, because the food is the focus, not the loot shit. Mostly between the main character and his high profile but pretty awful father. Anyway, 15 episodes have been missing for years. Two of them I did understand because I looked at the plot synopsis and it revolved around the ethical practice of the Japanese tradition of whale fishing, of whale hunting. Basically, a bunch of American activists show up and say that the Japanese really need to cut back or just stop whaling altogether. And it's one of the few times where the main character and his father are on the same page to prove that there's nothing really wrong with the Japanese going through with whaling. It's not until the end of the second part of that episode where where both father and son, all being in their own ways and separate points in the episode, expose the Americans for their hypocrisy because they've been keeping whale bones to be used for bunraku strings. For those who don't know what bunraku is, it's Japanese puppet theater. Whale bones can be ground down to be made into puppet strings. For those who didn't know that. Cosplay Black Book? Oh, well, I don't have much use of my Instagram account anyway. I'm hardly ever on there, Evie. But getting back on topic. And basically, this is what KickVic is a hypocritical organization who's in it just for clout chasing. Just like every other pro environmentalist organization, they like to cook the truth, rig, twist the truth to to their own agenda's advantage. And once they're called out, they'll just try to cover it up. And Mars Girl, you're the individual with the influence here. So the one who's really at fault is not Vic, it's you. You're the one who chose to take those photos and alter them. You're the one who chose to put out a smear campaign. You're the one who chose to surround yourself with enablers. You're the one who's been spreading this lie for about 4.5 years, and someone needs to shut you up once and for all. And since probably one of the only members of ISWV who is still going strong to constantly come on this platform, chew you up, and spit your fucking ass out like used old gum. And for those wondering, this isn't because of personal preference, and it isn't me for clout chasing. It's because of the circumstances surrounding why I joined ISWV. Another dead horse point I beat. Another horse I basically beaten to death. I don't want what happened to me under legit circumstances happening to people like Vic, Chuck, Todd, who I've never met, Johnny, Spike, Caitlin Glass, Tiffany Grant, Cynthia Kranz, Wendy Powell, Kyle Bear, Richard Epcar, or anyone else under bogus circumstances like what Vic has been hit with. And Nebraska Con, Nebraska Con, I'm too far out of the way to go anyway. But if I ever had the desire to go, you just lost someone because you chose to sell out to a fucking bully brigade who have believed every fucking lie about Vic for 4.5 years. So what will it be, Mars Girl? Will you accept my challenge? July 25th through 28th of 24, GalaxyCon Raleigh. Me versus you in an I Quit match. Where I swear, when it's all said and done, not only will Vic get with the stipulations that if I beat you, Vic not only gets a new ironclad contract with GalaxyCon Raleigh, but every convention in the Carolinas that you go under the polygraph test. And that's going to happen, not if, but when I beat you so badly that the last words to come out of your mouth will be, I quit. Because that's when everyone will finally get to listen to you. When you finally say, I quit. When you finally go under the lie detector, go under the spotlight and get a polygraph test, a lie detector. And when everyone sees that you are a damn liar, every con across the world will see you for what you are, a fucking fraud who did this just for the sake of themselves. For me, I'm doing this not just for my sake. I'm doing this for Vic's sake. I'm doing this for the community's sake. But unlike you, who puts yourself above everything else, I'm more than willing to put myself in the backdrop. I haven't seen Vic at a con in almost 5 years now. Yeah, that's how far it's getting. Kaylin, you could have chosen to be a better person and come forward with the truth about your deception. But you've been riding this momentum. And what are people seeing? A grade A psychopath. I mean, your attack on Matt Lanter or in Jian Bosch's fan project, which is still in the developmental phase, I might want to point out. Anyone who's watched my stuff would know I've talked about Gabriel and the Guardians at least twice on here. Are seeing you for what you are, a frightened, delusional woman who cares about herself, gaining money for herself, rather than using the money for the cause she claims to fight for. I may come off as brash, abrasive, hot-headed, stubborn, and easy to excite and anger practically to a fault. But unlike you, Mars girl, for the most part, at least I'm straight with what I gotta say. And at least I'm willing to admit when I've made a mistake. Unlike you, I stand with Vic, now then, forever. I don't have anything else left to say tonight. No, Marcos, as far as I know, the Hollywood actor strike isn't over yet. And this had nothing to do with that. Leave a comment, smash the like, and sub to the channel. This is Mets228 signing out. Goodbye, and good fucking night.